she did them, and I was aware she did them, and I just didn't know how to stop her from doing perks, and I kept warning her about fentanyl because I have a lot of friends that lost their kids. So I'm part of that club now. And I used to beg her, and tell her, please stop taking them. You don't know what's in them. In my daughter's case, she didn't OD. For people that don't know the story, she was murdered by fentanyl. This is a picture of my daughter for the people that never seen her.
And I can't say it enough times. Do not accept anything from anyone you don't know. And even if you do know them, don't accept it unless you know what it is and where it's come from. And
I would say at my worst, I was probably taking between 30, 35, sometimes maybe 40 a day.
If anything, the way I look at it is like Sopranos saved me. When I would think like, man, what are you doing to yourself? It would be a lot easier for me to go like, stop doing this. Look at what your life could be, instead of what a lot of my friends were dealing with. And, I think it's 5 of my friends who I brought to the premieres of The Sopranos are dead now.
I had my own battle with addiction as well. The Vicodin and Percocet, that was the thing. Never, I didn't do heroin, or it wasn't coke or anything else. It was Vicodin and Percocet.
By 2005, I was a full-blown heroin addict and a crack cocaine addict.
And even people with the worst kind of mental illness have a chance if they have the capacity to be honest with themselves. The reality is we've been lying to ourselves with every drink we put in our mouth, or every puff we take, or every pill that we pop, or whatever we're doing. And then we wonder why people get pissed off at us, but we don't see that it's what we're doing. It's not my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle, my sister. No, it's me too.
The consequences are too severe for me. The damage I've done to my health, it's a fucking miracle. Nothing short of a miracle that I am still alive. So, if I can do it, any of you can do it.
When people suffer from alcoholism or drug addiction, there must come a moment when your life totally crashes. For me, that moment came when the pain was too great and the consequences were too profound. Only then did I decide to change. Recovery and sobriety is all about change, and for me, it started when I woke up in a grimy hotel room in a shitty little town in Pennsylvania. And so, if you want a new life and start a new journey of a lifetime, you've come to the right place. You want to drink? That's your business. You want to stop drinking? That's our business. Welcome to Recovery Tube.
Hey guys, fucking Don's voice, right? It's made for narration. Perfect, I was so happy when he sent me that clip to add to the intro. It's my favorite intro ever, by the way. Let me see. Are you guys, how many of you are on the Recovery Tube channel? Please go there and watch from there, please. I'm begging you. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me, Miss Campurong. I did, as you can see. Bobby Barbariane, hey now, Baby A, Dave, Jason Mikesell, Michael Hensley, all the good people. Ben 41. Let me see. Baby, what did Hey Now say? Hey, hi everyone. How you all been? It's been forever. It's been a while, huh? It's been probably 13 minutes. You all right now, Jason? I was looking. Oh shit. Well, if you ever need anything, let me know. I got you. What's up? Ronan 456, Chris Capello, BTF Phoenix. Edward Everett. And is that it? FBI. Sheesh, there's a lot of fucking comments. D. Gainey and Joe Root. All right. So I got a question for you guys. And I may have asked this before. I don't know. But I want a serious answer, like if you have one. I think everybody who's in recovery at one point or another had something going on in their lives where they're like, fuck it. I'm going to go get fucking lit. And you probably don't most of the time. Some people do. People relapse. It's a part of recovery. But I'm just talking about having the thought. I'm not talking about doing it. Where you're really, really stressed out or you suffered some tragedy. And the first thought in your mind is, I'm going to go use. And you're actually seriously considering it. What do you do when that's the case? What do you do? Like, is there some mantra you repeat to yourself? Do you fucking meditate? Do you exercise? Do you distract yourself with something else? Do you go over all the reasons in your head why you shouldn't do that? Like me, for example, anytime it happens, I just, it's like this series of bad memories in my fucking head that just comes rushing back. It's like my brain telling me, no, not an option. But I've thought about it, on several occasions where I'm just going to go get fucked up. We all go through shit. Everybody's got, problems. Everybody. I don't give a fuck if you're dirt poor or filthy rich. I just thought about that. Isn't that funny? Dirt poor or filthy rich. Why are you always dirty? Why are you always dirty regardless of your tax bracket? Why is that? That's weird language. Anyway, nobody's answering me, and I'm hoping you guys start. My problem is when things are going well, I go fuck it up. Oh, yeah, the self-destruction. I hear that. Jason Mikesell, I literally came close to a relapse this weekend. I drank and I was bored and I got the urge, but then I just dwelled on the aftermath and it helped me get through it. So you mean, because you said you drank, so you mean relapsing on what, Coke? Nothing is disgusting as what I grossed. LOL. That's another one. Wow, look at that. Coke, yeah, okay. I got you. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't, bro. I mean, you could still drink, that's cool. If the Coke was your problem, then that's the one thing you need to stay away from. It's just weird for me to hear that because it's like, I'm just this all or nothing person, like I either fucking go balls to the wall or I just don't use it all. You know what I mean? I was around somebody yesterday. This is no bullshit. And I want to get back to, I see some people answered. I want to get back to that, but I was the same place I am I go to different places, usually all the time, but there's one place I go to more than the others. And I was at that place yesterday, as I am every day. I'm always at one of those places. I'm always out, is what I'm trying to say, every day. And there was this guy who, I was talking to him about recovery because he told me he stopped drinking a long time ago. And while we're talking, he's sitting on the ground. I'm standing up. He starts rolling a joint. I was like, I can't wrap my mind around that. But I guess it's not up to me to say, like, your life. Like Jason, for example, if drinking doesn't cause you trouble, then maybe you shouldn't have to abstain from drinking. I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it. I don't know. See, I never had problems, for example, with opiates or opioids at any point in my life. Never even used them. But I still won't take them. So it's hard for me to understand, but I'm not blocking them Oh, blocking. I'm sorry. I looked at this comment. I'm not judging anybody. Whatever you do is up to you. Even the guy yesterday, he's like, yeah, I haven't had a drink for 17 years, but I still smoke, weed all the time. It's like, it's not up to me to say you're doing anything wrong, and you're not really. I just don't understand, you know? But I think that's a lot of what recovery is these days. I think most people in recovery now still do something. They usually at least smoke weed. I think recovery has just changed. Maybe it's been watered down, because back in the day, there was, if you were in recovery, you didn't do anything. That's how I know it to be. But most people now, they do. Yeah, just you know what to do then. Yeah, you already know. All right. Let me go back up here now, and I'm going to read some of your answers. And I think, let me just say this before I go on. It's hard for me to say because, again, I'm a hardliner when it comes to just, not using anything, period. But if weed, for example, keeps you from drinking, and drinking was your real problem, and you caused, chaos and destruction when you were drinking, then go ahead. You know what I mean? What can anybody really say? You know what I mean? It's nobody else's fucking business. It's just like people who are on methadone, maintenance and shit like that. It's like, all right, if you're if that keeps you from being in the street, stealing and robbing and shooting dope and possibly, accidentally taking fentanyl or something, I don't know. It's just weird to me when it goes on forever, because it's like, again, language is very important to me. And when people say they're clean, I just take it to mean that you're clean. It's like this guy yesterday was saying that he's clean and sober. And you know me, I don't give a fuck. In person, on the internet, I speak my mind. I said, well, don't say you're clean and sober. Just say you're sober, because you're smoking weed. You know what I mean? Don't say you're clean and sober. And he goes, no, I know what you mean. I usually don't. I'm like, all right. I wanted to do it. You know that feeling when you're hammered? Oh, of course, bro. I don't know how the fuck you drink without it. I think you're playing with fire, personally. It's only a matter of time. I mean, I remember when I tried that, when a girlfriend I had from like 2008 to 2012, I would go out with her drinking. And I mean, maybe the first few times I was able to do it. And then it was like, fuck this. I'm getting coke from somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm getting coke from somewhere. I talk to myself about how bad my life was doing pills, and that stops me. That's a good idea. Yeah. I think that's kind of sort of what I do. I have the thought often, but recognize it's a reaction from the old me, and I'm much happier as the new me. That's good to know about yourself. That's very good to know about yourself. Because it'll keep you in line. Some people miss their old, life, or they miss some part of it. Usually includes using, or they're not quite sure if they'd rather live the way they are now, if they're happier now, or if they were happier then. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've asked that question. I have. Listen. I get tempted. I get tempted more so to be in the streets, because that's just where I've always been, than I do to use. Like, my thing is hustling. I was addicted to drug dealing more so than I was addicted to using coke or drugs. Well, the only drug I really did was coke. You get my point. So I get tempted to do that. Listen, I got friends, I got friends in shady places, we'll just say, and sometimes I'll hear a price on something. And this just happened not that long ago. I was talking to somebody, and they were telling me about some connect, and they could get this for X amount, and give it to me for this much if I want it. And I'm like, oh my God. It took everything in me not to do it. Everything in me. But the bottom line is, I don't break the law anymore. I don't want to go to jail anymore. And I have way too much to lose. But the question of whether I was happier then than I am now, I ask it all the time. Only because, as me and Dux have talked about on several occasions, NB is really in here, seriously. As me and Dux have talked about on several occasions. I saw somebody blocked her already, I'm assuming. I'm not fully comfortable sometimes in my new life, and the streets are calling, as they say. And I do think back to when I just didn't give a fuck and I was just running wild and doing crazy shit, doing whatever I wanted and making that drug money. Oh my God. And just every night was just fucking drinks and cocaine, But man, there were so many bad parts to it. I mean, more so than good parts, But I do ask myself that question sometimes, if I'm happier now or if I was happier then. And I'm definitely happier now. That's why I don't go back to that. But it's good. It's good, FBI. But you're happier this way. Otherwise, there'll always be that curiosity that might drag you back. Well, let me just try it one more night. Let me remind myself of what it was like. It's not good. I only ever want to do it when I'm drinking. Well, that's why you shouldn't drink. It's cereal and milk, bro. You know what I mean? It goes together. Once you were a long time user of both, like if you use cocaine and alcohol together for a long time, I mean, it's very hard not to use it together always. So if you do coke, you drink. If you drink, you do coke, but you can control it. What can I say? I think of what the after would be, so I don't do it. Hell yeah. I can't stop if I use. Yeah, same here. It ain't worth going back to the junk. Our lives are so much better now. Aren't they, man? Even when you're fucking bored, even when life just seems mediocre and boring, it's like, at least you fucking know what's going on. At least you are aware of what's happening. At least you live in reality and you're not hiding from anything or trying to mask it with anything. And at least you'll remember, unless you're me, of course, you'll remember things, If I can't even tell you how many good memories, I could have made, or I would still have, if it wasn't for using, Man, I remember one time I had a phone with a bunch of videos in it. Oh God, this breaks my heart, man. Videos of me and my daughter. Like I used to take every day after school, we would take long walks, and sometimes we'd sit in a park, like on a bench and talk, and I would just record it. You know what I mean? Just because we'd be talking about, like, I'd ask her what she wants for Easter, Christmas, and she would talk about it. And you want to save that stuff, because it's like they still believe in Santa and the Easter Bunny and all that shit. And I recognized that she was getting older and that would be gone soon. So I used to like to record, especially stuff like that. I mean, videos that I'd give anything to have now. Anything. And one day I took a bunch of Xanax and I did a fuck ton of cocaine. I think I kind of sort of told you guys about this before. I started on I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. And I mean, when I say a lot of Xanax, while I was doing cocaine, I was taking Xanax and I was drinking. Like I would do the Xanax and the alcohol to keep my heart under control. That's how bad it was. And I started hallucinating and I was seeing shit in my walls of my apartment on Poplar Street. I was seeing shit in my walls. I even asked my daughter and her mother lived across the street, and I said, come over, you got to see this. There's a cat coming out of my wall. Dead serious. And they came over, and of course, there was nothing. And I think about times like that because I don't even know what their reaction was, but it had to be, you know, pretty obvious what I was up to and what they thought of it. But anyway, because of this shit I was seeing coming out of the walls, I erased a bunch of videos from my phone. There was no storage left. I wanted to record this shit. And when I woke up, well, it was several days later because, you know, next thing you know, I'm with Cam and we're out doing something. And I don't remember what we were talking about, but Cam told me it was Wednesday. I said, what do you mean it's Wednesday? What do you mean? It's fucking Monday. He's like, no, you've been awake since Monday. I'm like, what? Yeah. And then when I finally, you know, was sober again momentarily, I realized that I deleted those videos. And, you know, back then the phones were different. I don't know if I could have recovered the videos. I don't think so. But, you know, I never got to. And those were fucking priceless. The memories with her, man, I would give anything to have those videos back. I'm telling you, it breaks my heart. And I did that, you know, I did it to myself. You know, I took that away from myself forever. It's the shit we do, man, you know, and I struggle with that too, guys. There's times when I think, you know, what's the point of life anymore? You know, like so much has happened in the past. What's the fucking point anymore? You know, like I've so much damage has been done and so much has been lost. And then of course, you know, I usually don't, that state of mind doesn't last long. And I realize, well, look at what life is now, you know, and I definitely want to be around for as long as possible. But there's times you get down and you think, what the fuck, man? You have to face that the damage is done and there is no fixing it, period. You have to face it. But it's very hard. The alcohol for me is manageable, but I have a hard time drinking beer and stopping. If I'm having one, I'm having 3 more and a few shots. I feel you, brother. I remember when I'd go out with my girl, we would drink at the bar. It'd be like me, her, and a bunch of her friends. And we would leave, and she would just be like, that was it. She was done. You know, she was ready to go home and, you know, whatever, and go to sleep. And I'm like, I can't just stop drinking now and just go home. You know what I mean? Like, we got to take something with us, like a few 6-packs, something. Because I'm not going to be able to sleep unless I pass out. And that's when I wasn't even addicted, like at least not physically, you know, but it's just the way my mind works. If I have a drink right now, I'm not sleeping tonight unless I drink till I pass out. And that is one of the most miserable fucking things a person could ever go through. Oh, yeah, Ferris. Perfect combination. Like peanut butter and jelly. Booze, I could stop after a bit. Coke, I take one line and I'm going on a 2-day bender with no sleep. See, I'm different, man. There was times when I could just, well, probably not that many, but where I could do a little bit of Coke and be okay. But, you know, alcohol is like, because I was physically addicted to it, you know, it never leaves you. Like once you give your body and your brain that shit back, even for a little while, it insists on having more. It demands it. And there's nothing you could do to stop it, you know. But cocaine, I don't know. Cocaine, for the most part, is just, it's all mental, you know. It's not like alcohol where if I start drinking now and then just stop, I will get major anxiety. I will fucking start to feel sick, you know, and I'll just be a restless fucking mess all night. Coke is like, I think if I did a couple of lines right now, I could just not do more. I could almost guarantee it, but I'm certainly not going to take that chance, you know. But if I have a couple of drinks right now, oh no. And then I'm going to need the Coke. So, You know, one addiction feeds the other. And doing an entire 8-ball to the dome, yeah. I literally cannot stop once I start. I feel you. Coke is dog shit these days, agree? I wouldn't know, but I would never touch it. I would never touch it because, fentanyl. God, I wish I could play you guys something. Let me just give me a second. I want to see if I can find something. Let me see in my history here. This shit was so fucking fun. I probably won't be able to find it. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to. I should have I think it was on TikTok. I should have saved it as a favorite. But there's this guy who did a song. I guess he's on parole in his parole office. He's a rapper. Told him that he's got to do a song like to kids about not doing drugs. It was one of the funniest things I ever heard in my life. No, I'm such a bad addict. I can't touch anything, not even weed. I mean, listen, my things were cocaine and alcohol. I mean, I never did. I did acid a few times. I did ecstasy once. And I smoked weed probably 7 or 8 times in my whole life. I hated it. I've never done another drug. Never. I never smoked crack. I never did dope. Benzos. I'm sorry, but I was prescribed them. Not like it makes it any better. And then, of course, for a while, I was getting them off the street. But other than that, that's it. I never did no fucking Molly. I never did dope, never took painkillers, never smoked crack, like I said, none of that shit. So I'm quite sure I could do something and be fine. I just know it about myself with certain things, but I wouldn't even try it. Guys, my clean time is so fucking important to me that if I relapsed, I would probably give up. I'm the type of person that I'm such a perfectionist. I couldn't say, oh, well, listen, we'll just start over. Tomorrow's a new day. I couldn't do it. I would feel like I threw the last 5 fucking years away, and I would, I don't know what I would do. I'd crash and burn, most likely. That's just the way I am. So I wouldn't even risk it. I told you, man, that day I was in the hospital when they offered me that Oxy. I can't tell you it didn't cross my mind how nice it would be to take that, considering the pain I was in and everything else. But I knew, that's it. Everybody else can say, like, people have said to me, it wouldn't be a big deal if you took it. And I know it probably wouldn't. But, like, they're right. I know they are. But to me, it's just like, no, it would almost be worse, because the one drug I never fucking did, now I'd be doing, you know what I mean? Even though it probably would have been one pill just for while I was in the hospital, but that scares me because who knows how good that one pill is going to feel. I've seen so many people become dope addicts and shit from taking those pills. I mean, people are in heaven. Some of you guys know, you did it. I don't ever want to know what it feels like. I have no idea. And I don't want to find out. I might like it too much. I might. Alcohol, I can get carried away and drink too much, but I can stop after a while. Cocaine, once I snort one line, it's off to the races. Yeah, no doubt, bro. I can stay away from booze and coke. That's good. Yes, distractions work. I also think back to the lowest points of using. These shows helped me when you started them, FBS. Thank you, Lefty DNA. Hopefully they still do to some extent. Does weed count as a drug? It's legal in most places now. I guess that's up to each individual. To me, it is. But that doesn't mean you have to see it that way. I mean, if it helps you and it's not hurting you in any way, then who the fuck can tell you shouldn't be doing it? It's just from my own personal life. Like I choose not to do anything. Guys, you know how many times I wanted to just maybe try CBD and something just for like sleepless nights and, anxiety and shit. And it's like, I don't ever want to be in the position where I need something ever again to feel a certain way or to sleep or to function. It's bad enough I fucking smoke. This is horrible. But bottom line is, if you took my cigarettes away today, I'd be fine. Mentally, I would be in anguish because I'd want a cigarette, but I wouldn't have withdrawal. I wouldn't get sick. I wouldn't, I'd go about my life like normal. But when you need something like alcohol, literally, or you'll fucking have a seizure or a heart attack, or if you can't if you've become such a functioning drunk that you can't even function without it anymore, that's a problem. If you started taking pills because your back hurts and you got to the point now where everything hurts if you don't take them, that's a horrible way to live. You're a slave to the drug. Even cocaine, even though it's mental, if it occupies your thoughts all the time, you're a slave to that too. And I'm telling you, with the weed, man, it's just like I said. The place me and this dude were yesterday, he had no fucking business smoking weed. It actually pissed me off that he was smoking weed. Just because of where we were. But it's like, I told you, man, potheads, to me, are some of the worst drug addicts. Like, I see motherfuckers, they can't go an hour. I told you, how how many drug dealers I know got busted because they were smoking weed while they were dirty, or they just got done reeing up. They were real dirty. I'm talking about mad weight in their trunk. And they're smoking fucking weed on the way home. Some of them didn't get caught. But still, they pull up to your crib or something and the fucking, the fucking car smells like a dispensary. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you got pulled over and they smelled this shit, the whole car is getting fucking searched. It's perfect probable cause. But some of them got caught, and it's serious sentences, because they couldn't help it. They couldn't drive from Baltimore to York without smoking weed. Are you fucking for real? How is that even possible for a drug that is not addictive? I mean, it's mentally addictive, but it's not physically addictive. Nothing will happen to you if you don't smoke weed. But man, potheads fuck me up, bro. I told you, I say this all the time now, and it's true. They smoke weed always. It's fucking nuts. But baby, listen, I don't even know if you're in recovery. I don't think you are, right? So, you can do whatever you want. But even if you are and it helps you, I say do what you got to do, no matter who it is. If I'm going to do coke, I'm taking 2 days off work, maybe 3. I'm buying an 8-ball, then plenty of booze. And whatever else comes to come down, Vikes or perks. Really? I never knew you did those to come down. Fuck that. The aftermath is not worth it. Nah. 15 months, 8 days, 7 hours, 21 minutes, and 5 seconds clean off meth. Congratulations, brother. God damn. Is that accurate numbers for real? Lauren MB, if that's you, I'll give it to you, man. You have balls. No shit. The kick for methadone is so bad, which is why most people are lifers at the clinic. Yeah, but I mean, the kick from heroin is terrible, right? I mean, when, I don't know. Listen, to each his own. My problem is I get judgmental and I start talking about what other people should be doing in their recovery. It's really none of my fucking business. All I can talk about is what I need to do. I just don't understand that. I don't, it's like if, like they give you Librium to get you through alcohol withdrawal. At least they used to. They'll give you 3 days worth. It is, let me tell you, I don't know if I've ever felt that good in my life when I took that shit. I mean, It's different than any other benzo I ever took. And it has you floating on air, and it has you feeling kind of drunk. And it takes all the withdrawal away. It's like methadone is for dope. But let's just say they said to me, yeah, you listen, we started off with 3 days, but we'll give you a 30-day supply and you could stay on it indefinitely. If I did, in my opinion, it'd be like, well, why am I not just drinking? But then again, it might be less damaging, and destructive as drinking. I don't know. But in my opinion, if I stayed on something that kept me from drinking, then it's like, well, when do I get off that now? Because now I need that or I'll drink, I mean, they give people gabapentin, but that's just, they give it to you in rehab for a couple of reasons. One, they give it to alcoholics to help with cravings. That's it. It doesn't mimic the feeling. It's not like methadone. It doesn't even take withdrawal symptoms away. It doesn't do any of that. But, mainly it helps with sleep, anxiety, and several other things. But it's not comparable to like methadone or Librium or any of that shit, I have a drink every once in a while, but that's really it. You motherfucker, you. Jesus Christ, Doc. We just talked the other day and you told me you never drink. You motherfucker. We're going to have a talk after the show, Ducks. We're going to have a talk. A lot of people with addiction are craving dopamine. There are non-pharmaceutical ways to get dopamine worth a Google search. Yeah, that's what it is. I've never done less than an 8-ball. Otherwise, why do it? LOL. Shit. I hear you, Michael. The 8-ball is just to kick off the night with, And if you think about it, I mean, it truly is an insane amount of cocaine to be doing. It really is. I mean, now, if you're a heavy addict, it doesn't seem that way. But if you told most people I snorted an 8-ball by myself in one night or something, they're going to be either highly impressed or highly disgusted by you. That's what I was doing every day, Michael, for years, a fucking 8-ball, every minimum. You know what I mean? Minimum. I wouldn't measure out what I was doing, but I would know what I had. Like, say I had 60 grams. And I wake up the next day and I got 56 grams. It's like, holy fuck. And I didn't sell anything. It's like I did 4 fucking grams last night. Christ almighty. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that at some point. I just, right now I probably won't because I like the way the show is going. Drinking causes me to make bad decisions, so I stay away. But if you can do it, congrats. Yeah, causes me to make bad decisions too, but if you could do it. The problem for me is I keep chasing that euphoria, and after you do coke for like 6 hours, it doesn't hit you the same way. Yeah, after like 6 hours, yeah, no, it doesn't. But I know what you mean by chasing the euphoria. I got to a point where it wasn't even the feeling anymore. I told you guys it was the drain, but don't ask me what I did to my nose, but I'm telling you for years, it didn't matter how much coke I did or how good it was. There was no drain. It's like it got lost in my nose. I swear to God, guys. I would spend a whole night drinking myself stupid just so I could keep doing more coke just because I was chasing that. I loved the drain. Oh, I always did. Since the first time I tried it, I fucking love it. I love the numbness. I didn't get none of that anymore. It's like I was immune to it. It's like all I was doing was using it as like a component to, or like a, I don't know, like an addition to my alcohol abuse. It's like, well, I'll just throw this cocaine in there. It doesn't do anything any fucking more. But I remember the first time I started doing coke again, because you got to remember, guys, I didn't do coke from like 99 until 2004 or 5. Not so much as a bump, nothing. And then I was out at a club with my girlfriend. club I've told you about many times, Ada's. And I had loaned another DJ some equipment. And he fucked up one of my turntables. Okay. And he came over to me and he explained the situation. He said, I know I got to replace it. Don't worry, I will replace it. I knew he was good for it. He said, but I'm just going to give you this, just because I feel bad. I'll throw you a little something extra. And he gave me like a ball in a jar, and I was like, oh, I haven't done this in years. And me and my girlfriend went back home and she was, all into it. And we've had fucking one of the craziest nights and one of the greatest nights in our entire relationship. Well, I'll just say that. And when you do things like that, this book, it's a wonder drug for you. You know what I mean? When it benefits you in all different ways, especially if you got a girlfriend who's into it, you know what I'm talking about. They get freaky, very freaky. Great night. But it was a couple of nights later that I was at the same place. I was at Ada's. I still had some left. And I got real fucking drunk, man. I was fucking lit. And I went in the bathroom and I just did like 2 bumps. And this was fire, I did a couple bumps and I'm telling you, it fucking like that. It's like I didn't drink a drop. I was brand fucking new. I forgot about that from when I was using as a teenager. And I was like, wow, I could fucking stay out all fucking night. That club used to stay open until 4:30 in the fucking morning. And bars in PA have to close at 2. But it was a VPA, it was a members only place. I was like, holy shit. And then, that was it. Once I got that ball, it was not like I was going to just be done after that ball. So I just started grabbing it to sell, and then I was doing it. And then I'd be at that fucking place all night because I'm just posted up. That's where I would hustle at. You know what I mean? So it's like the longer I'm here, the more money I make. So I would drink myself stupid. This is when they still sold 151. I would have fucking 151 in Cokes all night. It was fucking 5 ounces of 151 and like a splash of Coke. You know what I mean? And that was like, it became my every night for a long, long time. But it got to the point where it didn't have that effect on me anymore. Coke just had no effect on me anymore. It was crazy. Yep, exactly. That's what dope does to you. I'll never quit weed. I love it too much. Gives me a good balance. I'll never get that just because I hate it. It's the worst drug on earth to me. I would also visualize what the consequences of using would be, and I remember the feeling of what I'd feel like then, so I don't. Yeah. That's a good tool, man. That's what you got to do. Always think about the consequences. Really, Jason? I might not have friends in high places, but I have high friends in places. Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. City Boy Blues, I'm not clean, but I'm just glad I kicked dope, so boxing helped me. There you go, bro. That's good, man. But there you go. See the fucking thing? He said I'm not clean. Nobody can knock you then. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you've quit your drug of choice, and now you're just doing shit you never had a problem doing. Cool. What pisses people off is when you say, I'm clean, but I do a whole bunch of shit. I do this, or a combination of things, but I don't do my drug of choice. It's like, well, then you're not clean, So I give you props for saying that. No, you're right, FBS. I do need to cut the drinking down because eventually it will lead to a bender. It's every time you have a night of drinking and you don't do coke, consider yourself lucky because it is only a matter of time. I am so bored sober. Sorry to be negative, but just how I feel. No, you're not being negative. I understand. That's why, you know what, Faris, anything you could do to find any kind of hobby. Something that you could do. Like I found something that I do every day now for hours. My day is jam fucking packed, even though I don't even work a regular job. I get up, I eat, and I'm out the door. and I go to the same place or one of a number of, places that are similar, and I stay there for at least usually 3 hours minimum. And then by the time I'm done there, I come home and look at today. I came home, I was sure I'd be able to start the show at 4:30. Nope. Took me longer to shave than I thought and all that. And guess what? When this show is over, I'm going back out. I got to go look for something I need to purchase, and I don't know where to find it. I'm going to go to a couple different stores. And quite honestly, I just want to be out. Then I'm home, for the rest of the night, and I go to sleep. I watch a little TV or a movie, and then I go to sleep. And the next day it's repeat. Now that's new, Faris. That's new. I've only been doing that a few months. But I've been there. COVID was fucking torture, and it's probably the only time I feel like I was really close to relapsing. At one point during COVID, when there was just nothing happening and nothing was open, and a guy like me cannot be fucking homebound, and boy, I was it was miserable. What is Jesse coming on? I was a heavy cocaine user from age 19 to 34. One line is too many. 100 lines isn't enough. For real. I know, Miss Campion. It's fucking heartbreaking, man. I just, any of those memories, that I lost, and it's not like I don't remember those things, because I wasn't, when I made those videos, I wasn't using, but it's just having the videos, what it would mean to me, It's one of my biggest regrets, stuff like that, because it's something you can't replace. You could replace pretty much anything, any possession, any material thing. But, stuff like that, like you take a video of your child at a certain point, that's literally all you're ever going to have, because once they're past that age, that's it. They'll never be the same. They'll never speak the same. They'll never, think the same way, It's like I was talking about with the holidays, once your kid doesn't believe in the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus and shit anymore, you'll never be able to go back to when they did, So if you have videos of stuff like that, it's so important to have, and to lose that shit. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about stuff like that. I torture my fucking self. You have no idea. There's a lot of people who think that certain people in my life are very pissed off at me. You have no idea. It's me that's pissed off at me. Okay. Most people in my life aren't mad at me at all for anything I did in the past. There's been relationships that have been damaged, but it's me. I am a master kicking myself in the ass on a daily basis. That's why I always take responsibility for everything. It's just who I am. I don't know how not to. I stopped smoking and vape now. Had a drag of a cigarette and tasted disgusting. It works. I've come to the conclusion that, I know what I could get from smoking. I don't know what the fuck I could get from vaping. That popcorn lung and all that horse shit. Who knows 20 years from now, we're going to find out. Until I can quit, I'm just going to stick with smoking. I even worry about Shanna because she vapes 90% of the time now. And it's like, man. Look, we started out using those Elf bars. Now they're fucking illegal. They're illegal for a good reason. I don't know what it is. I don't think I want to know. But fuck that shit. Oh, Jason, all it takes is someone to show up with that shit while you're drinking and you will not even have a choice. No, you don't. You have zero control of yourself when you see cocaine while you're drinking. You know what I mean? It's like you just want to fucking stick your whole face in it. Nothing will stop you. Damn, Xanax while drinking on coke. You could have died, FPS. Oh, you have no, not just some Xanax. Bro, I had a Ziploc bag filled with it that I bought from somebody. And according to the people who were around me, I was just popping them like Like I was, eating a bag of fucking chips. I'm not talking about all at once, but I mean, throughout that 3-day period that I thought was only one day, like every couple of hours, I would take another one and then another one, and the hallucinations were horrible. I told you, one of the weirdest things that same day that I thought there was cats and shit coming out of my wall, that same day, I go outside, I'm out front. It was all row homes, it was in the hood, you know what I mean? Poplar Street. And I'm out there, and my neighbor, this chick, she's outside with her boyfriend. And there was windows, like you could see the windows to the basement from the front of the house. There's 2 windows at the bottom of like the porch. So I'm looking in the windows, and I had a little storage area in the basement. I shared the basement with the neighbor, but I had a storage area. It was pretty small, but it was right at the front of the house in the basement. And I looked down and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? There's somebody with a uniform on, including a badge, going through all my shit. And I said, what the fuck? I said, JC, Ronnie, come here. You see this shit? There's a fucking cop in the basement going through my shit. I don't know if he has a warrant. I don't know what's going on. No lie. They just looked at me like I was crazy and walked away. So I didn't know if they saw it or not. I called my landlord and I said, David, do you have any idea why there's a cop in the fucking basement going through my shit? Did you give somebody a key or call somebody or allow somebody in here? He said, Chris, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, there was nobody there. I had a couple of other people from the block come up to me. I asked them about it, and they said, yeah, there's nobody there, Chris. I had my man Popcorn go in the basement. There was nobody there, Later that night, I got to be careful how I tell this story, but I was in my apartment, first floor of this house, and I had a back door that looked out onto the tiny little ghetto ass driveway, right? And I just was in my kitchen and I looked out the window and I saw a car with 4 guys. I saw them all get out of the car with guns and come up to my back porch. Now, I possessed several firearms at the time, but they were not in the apartment with me. They were very close by, but I would have had to have gone outside to access them. Okay. To get to where they were. Not far, but I would have had to have gone outside. So I call a couple friends that I knew were close by. And I said, guys, there's some dudes here. They got guns. I don't know if they're trying to rob me, but I'm ass naked at the time, so to speak. I ain't got my shit, and they came over and they were prepared, and they pushed right past me and ran to the fucking back door, swung the back door open, ran outside. Not only was there no 4 guys, there was no car. Like, that's how crazy this fucking, it was like I was hallucinating for 3 days straight. Unbelievable. I used to take Xanax to come down off coke. Shit knocks you the fuck out. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did it just because of my heart. I had to either be drinking a lot or taking some shit like that, like benzos or something. Otherwise my heart would be out of control and I couldn't do coke, and I wasn't having that. So I would do, whatever kind of benzo I could find to keep my heart under control. I always took Ativan, but Ativan ain't really shit, so I would take Xanax. My favorite thing was Klonopin. Klonopin to me is like the best benzo. That was always my preference, but it's much harder to get than stuff like Ativan and even Xanax. I never had a problem taking Xanax. I'm sorry. I never had many problems taking it. Mixing Xanax with other things has caused many deaths. Oh, yeah, it slows down your respiratory system and everything. You'll drop fucking dead. Drinking on benzos. It happens. It certainly does. I used to get coke free from my ex, and I'm thankful I only did it once, one summer, and quit. Yeah, man. I'm happy for you that's all you did it for as well, because could have turned bad. I'm just glad I didn't inherit alcoholism from my father. I don't even know how much I believe in all that, but I mean, I told you, there's not a fucking alcoholic in my family. My grandmother, she used to drink Dewar's Scotch. I told you guys this a million times. I never saw her drunk, not once. You know what I mean? And she didn't. I mean, she always had it, but it was like a glass. She would just sip throughout the day, And I'm sure it was refilled a couple of times, but whether she was eating dinner, eating lunch, she used to hang out at the, TJ Bentley's and Bay Ridge all the time, and she would have her glass of scotch and just sip it. I never saw her under the influence, never. But that's the only one. I had an uncle who was a severe alcoholic, but he was not blood related. He was my aunt's husband. My aunt was the blood relation. So, couldn't have came from there. My brother had some issues when he was a teenager. He experimented with a lot of drugs. He had a drinking issue for a little while, and to this day, he doesn't do any drugs. He stopped doing drugs when he was like in his late teens, early 20s, and he drinks rarely. So I don't know. I think it's just some people get addicted, some people don't. That's it. I don't know if it necessarily, I mean, it obviously doesn't necessarily have to be, genetic. It doesn't have to be a relative or a parent, or it's not necessarily, based on that. I think, but they say that you're more prone to becoming addicted to drugs or alcohol if, people in your family, especially like your parents or grandparents, had addiction issues themselves. And I'm sure that's probably true, but it's not like that's always the way it is. I found that out myself. FBS, but as much guilt as you feel, look at your life. Now you're completely clean, living a good life. I know, and I'm grateful for that every day. But you know how it is, Miss Campione. We're all our own worst critics, especially people like me. I'm so type A and fucking nuts, and such a perfectionist. I fucking when I regret something, I beat myself the fuck up forever. You know what I mean? And I see no end in sight. Especially with things like that, especially with things like that. That's my problem with coke. Once the crash starts and your heart's beating, I can't stand that shit. So I just keep doing more and more. Yeah, no shit. I know it's weird, right? How your mind works, but that's exactly what you do. Yeah, we're definitely the opposite when it comes to that. My thing is with cocaine, at the worst, I'll want more, but with alcohol, I'll need more, so I couldn't eat or talk when I used coke. It was like my brain stopped or something. LOL, I wanted to talk, but it would take me ages to get the words out. I know what you mean. You're probably geeking a little bit. Your jaw was probably, and you can't. You can't get the words out. I've seen people like that. I'm sure I was probably like that in the beginning, at least. Fucking fentanyl. Yeah, man. That's another thing. How weird I am. If I hear one more motherfucker call it fentanyl, it's fentanyl. It's just the way it's spelled. But this song I was listening to earlier, he rhymed some word with fentanyl. And I'm like, come on, man. In no way, shape, or form can you look at that word and say that's pronounced fentanyl. Sorry, guys. I got to be a bitch every now and then. He took the Xanax and went to sleep and never woke up. Where's your first comment? The one before that. I don't see it. I don't know. But I had a friend. I don't know if you're talking about opioids or what. But he wasn't really. I knew him through people. I think what the fuck was his name? Butch or some shit like that. And we used to go to the methadone clinic every morning. He was friends with a friend of mine named Nate, a couple of other people, and he used to go to the methadone clinic every morning. And one night, he was having some anxiety issues or something, and he took just a couple of his mom's Xanax, 0.5s. And the next day, he went to the methadone clinic, and he died right there in the fucking clinic. So it's no joke. I would only do coke on occasions. I was never a regular user, but when I did, I don't know if there's more to that. No, it's a good thing, man. You know why, Mike? Because that means you could still do it on occasions. No, I'm just fucking around. You're lucky you never got hooked on it. Crack to me was such a scam. Take a huge hit, you get blasted right away, but then it wears off in like 10 minutes or less, and you're just fiending for more. Bro, they say that like the peak, from one hit of crack, your high lasts about 30 seconds to a minute. I fuck that. And I've seen people just go through so much fucking money. I just never wanted no part of it. Not only that, but it's just a totally different drug than powder. You know what I mean? That you could do a line, and be good for a while. Not with that shit. You can make coke last a lot longer. It's not as addictive. I've never seen cokeheads behave like crackheads. You know what I mean? Like when crackheads are out of crack, they will kill their mother to get their hands on a rock. Cocaine, it's not really like that. Yeah, FBS, when I threw 2 years away, it was disappointing. 5, forget about it. Yeah, I don't ever want to be there. I have to skip through a bunch of shit, guys. I'm actually going to have to get going because Jesse's coming on. Look at how many wow. Oh my God, how far behind I was. Holy fuck, there's 8 million comments. Wowzers. All right. Are you out of your mind? It's definitely fentanyl. No, it's not. It's not. It's spelled Fentanyl. It's fentanyl. All right, guys, I got to get going. But write down these numbers: National Addiction Hotline, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Keep them close by. Just remember, I don't know who has people in their lives, who don't, but if you ever need somebody to talk to, you could get a hold of me through my email. Some of you have my phone number or whatever. I'm on social media, certain places, and get a hold of me or maybe somebody in this chat. You'll always have somebody to talk to. And we're here to help each other, not to judge each other. It's a wonderful community we've built. And it makes me very happy that I'm a part of it. So that's it, guys. Go to nextdistro.org and get your Narcan, Just watch a little video, take a little quiz, put in your information, and get 4 free Narcan sent to you. And when I say do it, I'm not requesting that you do it. I'm fucking demanding it. And Tony Duck says, if you don't, it's this. All right. So that's it, guys. I'm out of here. I'll see you all tomorrow. I love you. Jesse, have a good show. And until next time, salute.